Chronicle Volume 4 arrived at my doorstep yesterday, and of course I took the opportunity to read as much of it as I could. However, I'm not a filthy fucking book skipper, so I will not be skipping to the Shadowlands section and just reading that like a fucking jerk. I'm reading the whole damn thing, and let me just tell you, there's been some inconsistencies in this book. To put it lightly, I gotta turn my camera on. There's been some inconsistencies. We'll talk about them. You guys will be excited about this. I've been putting little sticky notes. I've been filling this book up. So as we go through here, you'll find that I have notes, or at least note markers, on most of the pages. So there's much of this, and there's big portions which don't have anything. There's much of this that I have like little things that I want to talk about, whether it's small like way that they've like worded things, or the outcome of certain events, things on maps, like certain pieces of art, things like that. So I've been going through it and leaving those marks, and so yeah, we'll definitely have a fair amount of stuff to talk about. I think what's really cool about this book in particular is that this book starts in Mists of Pandaria. When did I start? In Mists of Pandaria. So it's really cool because for me, I'm basically reading the history of everything that I've played. And that's really cool. Like, as someone, like, this is literally everything that I have got to experience firsthand in World of Warcraft is in this book. And I think that's really cool. I don't know, I think it's really cool. I'm like reliving some of this stuff. I'm like thinking back. It's awesome because it's like referencing quests and stuff that you do in the game. And then I'm like imagining in my mind, I'm like, I remember doing that. Like, I remember going in, you know, trying to collapse the connection between Frostfire Ridge and Gorgrond. I remember that whole scenario. You know, I remember, and then there are things that I remember that are not correct in this book. So, like, for instance, this book claims that Orgrim Doomhammer was on the boat with Blackhand at Talador, which is not true. Orgrim Doomhammer was not on that boat. I even went back and watched the cinematic. He was not on the boat. That's not correct. There's some other things, like, we'll get to this. This book claims that we fought Agrimar on the seat of the Pantheon. That's not a good look, chat. That's not a good look, dude. That's not a good look, because we didn't fight Agrimar on the seat of the Pantheon. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. So that's the kind of stuff in this book. When I say inconsistencies, that's what I'm talking about. Is there's like, and then there's things that they seem like inconsistencies, but then I have to wonder, like, are they trying to imply something? Like, it says that Argus has fell powers. Not only does Argus have fell powers, but the sword that Sargeras stuck in our planet was apparently filled with fell energy. Are you sure about that? I'm just like, part of me is like, well, no, that wasn't fell. But then part of me was like, are they trying to say that it is? Like, are they trying to hint that, like, this energy, like, what we think of as fell is not, like, I like that idea that, like, it's a challenge to what you understand about the magics. Look, as I read through this book, the things about, like, how it says that we fought Agrimar on the seat of the Pantheon is alarming. That's like, that is a glaring oversight. Like, how do you get that wrong? How do you get that wrong? It's the second to last fight of the entire expansion. How do you fuck that up? So it's stuff like that where it's like, oh, goodness, man. Was the QA like that bad on this? I just don't get it. I don't get it. Lusty, thanks for getting another sub, bro. Appreciate that. So whose perspective is volume 4? Okay. I'm going to keep getting asked this, and I'm going to make this very clear. The Chronicle books are not written entirely from one perspective. I always took Chronicles as not a perspective from a specific character, but as an all-known knowledge in the universe. Some things like the cosmology chart are real in Azeroth. But a book called Chronicles that refers to the champion and other things is not real? No. But I've toyed with this idea too that yes, it's our collective knowledge. It's what we know. Right? But what Steve Denuser said is that he specifically said the Titans and those who serve the Titans, which is a lot of fucking people, a lot of constructs and shit. And he said, but there's a lot of other perspectives too. So people fall into this really dumb pitfall where they open Chronicle and they think that front to back, everything written in the book is Titans. And that it's deceitful. And it's like, bro, it actually drives me nuts because I've said this before. I went from trying to convince people that Chronicle had inconsistencies and that it should be studied to now trying to convince people that it still needs to be studied and that they shouldn't just disregard it because it has perspective. We literally went from one extreme to the other, where like people would not accept that it was not purely correct, to now where people, they know that, and now they won't engage with it because they're concerned that it's only, you know what I mean? So it's such a misstep. It's just such a fucking dumb thing. A Word of God source just isn't very fun for world building, and Blizz has been doing this long enough to know that 100% canon source is just a way to shoot yourself in the foot. Volume 1 just gives a big fat I don't know on the Emerald Dream. It's pretty clear that it's not a Word of God source. It's not only does it have inconsistencies about who and or what created the Emerald Dream, it flat out, I think what maybe is in there as well that you're maybe referring to is that it doesn't explain where the Shadowlands came from. Literally at all. It says the origins of the Shadowlands are unknown, but it is said that they came into being from the moment the first mortal arose in the cosmos, which is like, wow, that's quite a thing to say. But like, you don't know anything about it. You can make 3 or 4 different assertions about how the Emerald Dream was created or formed, but you can't tell me anything about the Shadowlands? Okay, that's pretty convenient.